One's ready. One's ready. Go!
Hey everybody, welcome back to your daily drop for 2 June. Hopefully we're back for the long run now. I know that we kind of missed some days in there, but Public Affairs wasn't updating their website, so we didn't really have anywhere to go. So I need to come up with another solution so that I'm not relying on them. But I just want to give you the information that everybody else is getting within the Air Force. So before we get into that, though, we do have one more slot available for the Operator Training Summit in San Diego coming up this June 21 and 22. One slot left. So if you are interested, email us at jared@onesready.com or leave a comment with your email, and then we can get you added to the chat chain so that you can, or the text group or whatever you want to call it. And that way you can secure your spot, and we'll give you all the details and everything like that. So, all right, moving on. This is the joint news. Defense Secretary addresses China at Shangri-La. There we go. Start right off the bat. Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth announced at the U.S. military response to China's expansion in the Indo-Pacific during the Shangri-La dialogue in Singapore. He emphasized the U.S. commitment to the region and plans to enhance cooperation to counter Chinese aggression, particularly in the South China Sea and Taiwan. Man, I've got to work on my articulation right now. You guys are struggling through this with me. All right, U.S. urges Australia to boost defense spending. Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth discussed increasing Australia's defense budget to 3.5% of GDP during a meeting with Australian Defense Minister Richard Marles. The talks focused on advancing defense industry cooperation through Marles noted no specific GDP percentage was finalized. I don't know this is the first I'm hearing about this. I wonder if they mean that we would provide, I'm guessing by the way I read this, is that we would provide, the U.S. would provide Australia 3.5% of GDP? Or does that mean that we are requesting Australia use 3.5 of their GDP towards defense? I don't know exactly on that. I mean, it makes sense. Like, you want to start talking about building partners and allies and making sure that folks in the Indo-Pacific region are strong and ready to support us. Like, Australia is our number one partner in that region to help out with that. So it does make sense. Next, DOD and VA, or Veterans Affairs, collaborate on veteran transition. Defense Secretary Pete Hexeth and the Veterans Affairs Secretary Doug Collins signed a memorandum to improve the transition process for service members leaving the military. The agreement aims to enhance access to health care and benefits, particularly those with mental health conditions, addressing gaps noted in Government Accountability Office report. Yeah, I think anybody that has transitioned from the military will know, whether they retired or whether they separated after their enlistment or commissioning, that TAPS, or Transition Assistance Program, it is mandated by Congress to meet certain milestones and take certain courses in order to depart the DOD. Now, that is very, very baseline stuff. It's good info. So please don't think that I'm diminishing from what the folks are doing, but it is at a baseline level, because you have people who are E1s, E2s that could be getting kicked out of the military. You have, E5s and E6s that have done 6 years, 8 years, 10 years, and they're like, yeah, I want to go on and do something else. That were great people and great workers. Then you have people that have done 20, 25 years that, have different life experiences, different expectations, and all that kind of stuff. So it's a difficult time for some people, because some people don't want to leave the military. Some people can't get out of the military enough. So it's struggling. And I think a better transition program is definitely needed and will be welcomed with open arms. I just don't know what the cost is going to be, and it shouldn't be about the cost, right? But it is something. It is a consideration. It's not the consideration, but it is a consideration. Next, Russian satellite raises anti-satellite concerns. A Russian Cosmos satellite orbiting near U.S. government satellite has sparked concerns about potential anti-satellite capabilities. U.S. Space Command is monitoring the Cosmos 2588 satellite, which is one of 3 near-suspected National Reconnaissance Office assets. Eee, getting close up in space. That's not good. And we're already behind the space race as it is, and with all the great things that SpaceX is doing, we're still behind. We are still behind, and thank goodness for SpaceX and those companies, Firefly, that are putting things out there and putting things up what seems to be like on a daily basis. But like, this is extremely important stuff, and as Americans and even westernized, cultures, like it's super important for us to make sure that we maintain or continue to progress what we know and love now. The hell I'm talking about. I'm supposed to be reading you guys the news. All right. U.S. doubles airstrikes in Somalia. U.S. Africa Command has conducted over 25 airstrikes in Somalia this year, doubling the 2024 total, targeting Islamic State threats. The withdrawal of the U.S. forces from Niger has limited monitoring capabilities, but increased strikes have achieved tactical gains, though long-term success requires addressing instability's root cause. Dude, I get it. Like, I like killing bad people too. Like, I really do. Like, it's really, it's rewarding and it's fun and all that kind of stuff. But like, if we think that we're actually going to make change in Somalia, or Niger, like, I think we're sadly mistaken. But what do I know? Like, I'm just a nug. All right. AFRICOM warns of West African terrorist threats. Islamic terrorists in West Africa are seeking coastal access to fund operations through smuggling and trafficking, increasing global risks, according to AFRICOM Commander General Mike Langley. While airstrikes in Somalia have doubled, a comprehensive strategy is needed to counter the growing threat. Yeah, I mean, going back to what I was just talking about, I don't know that we're going to win the war or whatever you want to call it. We're not going to win people in Somalia over. We're not going to win people in Niger over. We're like, the best we can do is manage a chaotic situation and hopefully benefit out of it. Next, Indopaycom integrates AI in wargaming. U.S. Indo-Pacific Command will use AI-driven decision aids in its Pacific Century exercise to enhance wargaming capabilities. This marks the first use of the online AI tools, with plans to combine them with modeling and simulation for improved decision-making. Cool. We'll see how it works. DODEA expands, that is Department of Defense Education Activity, expands student support amid staff cuts. The Department of Defense Education Activity is introducing principal assistance and expanding mental health services to better support military-connected students. The initiative includes hiring 21 psychologists to reduce the student-to-psychologist ratio while cutting technologists and other positions. I know we covered this in the Daily Drop a couple weeks ago. It was like the student-to-psychologist ratio was like 1 to every 800 or something like that, which, does every single one of those folks need to see a psychologist? No. I do wonder, though, and I get it, this is the Daily Drop, this is news, but I do wonder, and let me know what you think in the comments, but are we taking this whole mental wellness, mental health thing way too far? Like, it's like, if you start talking about the tipping, pandemic or whatever you want to call it, epidemic that we're in, where everything's got to be tips and all this kind of stuff, like, I almost feel like we're getting to that extreme when it starts coming to mental wellness and mental health. I know that there are issues out there with it, right? There are people that commit suicide, unfortunately, all the time, and there's people that from depression and that kind of stuff. But I wonder if there's a better solution than adding psychologists. And if any of you have ever heard about some of this therapist talk and verbiage that they use, like that itself is not healthy. So I don't know. Let me know what you think. Am I completely out to lunch? I get it that I'm a little rusty right now and giving you guys more opinions than I am actually reading the news. So I'll get back to it. But yeah, interested to see what you guys think. All right, this is Air Force news. Trump budget increases Air Force funding slightly. The proposed FY26 or fiscal year 26 budget raises the Department of the Air Force budget by 1.4% below inflation rates, prioritizing personnel spending over operations and maintenance. Air Force Chief of Staff David Alvin has advocated for additional funding to maintain the Air Force's role in American air power production. 1.4% isn't great. I wonder what the Space Force got bumped up to, because they were only 3.5% of the DOD spending. So, all right. Air Force plans to privatize base hotels. The Department of the Air Force is considering privatizing hotels at 58 military bases through a 50-year lease, starting with a test program at 23 bases. This move aims to ensure reliability, well-maintained lodging for airmen, guardians, and their families following the Army's privatization model. I mean, I don't know if this is a good thing or a bad thing. Usually I would say that privatizing anything is the key solution. I just think that what matters is what's written in that contract and what their standards of performance are. And we've got to make sure that we are able to hold whatever company owns that lease accountable to make sure that our folks are taken care of and staying in accommodations that are adequate. All right, new commander for Kunsan Fighter Base, Colonel Catherine Gak took command of the 8th Fighter Wing at Kunsan Air Force Base, South Korea, succeeding her husband, who previously led the wing. She anticipates significant changes to the wing's structure and mission in the coming months. That's pretty funny, actually, because the way I see this is that Colonel Catherine, she wants to come in and change all this stuff and make it, which she should want to make things better. But I wonder if this entire time she's looked at what her husband was doing and going like, hey man, I wouldn't do it that way. I would probably change this, but looks like she's going to do it on her own. So, Thunderbirds documentary praised by former pilots. A new Netflix documentary, Air Force Elite Thunderbirds, has been lauded by former Thunderbird pilots for capturing the squadron's essence. The film highlights the challenges and high standards faced by team members, evoking strong memories for veterans of the elite unit. We did a reaction video to this. The video got taken down by YouTube, but it is up on audio and Rumble and X if you guys do want to check it out. But if you have not seen this documentary, it is fantastic. The cinematography in it and how they capture some of these views of the aircraft are incredible. Yeah, the stories are good and all that kind of stuff, because it's about people, but and they really did a good job of capturing what each one of those pilots and the crew goes for. I do wish that there was some more focus on the ground support elements and the maintainers and stuff like that, because I think that they are often, put on the bench and not given the proper due. But the cinematography and the shots they capture in this are unbelievable. Definitely go check it out. SpaceX, or Space Force News, rather. Space Force and SpaceX launch GPS 3F satellite. SpaceX launched a GPS 3F satellite for the Space Force from Cape Canaveral, improving national security space launch timelines based on lessons from prior missions. The rapid deployment with Lockheed Martin preparing the satellite in months demonstrates the Space Force's ability to meet urgent space demands. I don't know how many months that took, but if we are talking months, as in less than 12 months, to get anything ready for space, like that's moving. That's not taking shortcuts. That's moving. All right, next, SpaceX continues national security launches. SpaceX successfully executed another national security launch with GPS 3F satellite, while ULA's Vulcan program faces scrutiny for performance issues. Space Force officials emphasize their ability to respond quickly to constellation needs, highlighting SpaceX's reliability in meeting mission demands. Right on. Like, good. And like I said, SpaceX is the way forward. I mean, they've been crushing it from day one, and they continue to do so. So, anyway, don't forget to like, subscribe, hit that notification bell. Appreciate you being here. Bye.